Okay, let's check out this problem. If you've clicked on this video, that means you have attempted this and you're here to think through it with me. So if I know that the sine of an angle is 5/6 and that angle is between 90 and 180, that means I'm going to be in quadrant 2 over here. So the sine of theta, right, let's say this is theta. The sine represents the opposite, 5, and then the hypotenuse is going to be 6. Here's our reference angle. So if this is the triangle we're talking about, we need to figure out this. That's sort of my instinct is to like, well, what is that right there? And we know it's going to be the square root of 36 minus 25, or the square root of 11. So this point would represent, we know this is going to be 5, but we're going back, we're in quadrant 2, so that is going to be negative root 11. So far, so good? So when it says determine the exact simplified values of the other trig functions, the 5 other trig functions, we're talking about the cosine of theta, the tangent of theta, the cosecant of theta, the secant of theta, and the cotangent of theta. Well, the cosine of theta is going to be x over r, but since we're in quadrant 2, it's actually going to be negative root 11 over 6. The tangent would be 5 over the opposite of root 11, and we're going to rationalize that and get negative 5 root 11 over 11. The cosecant is going to be the reciprocal of this, 6 over 5. The secant is going to be the reciprocal of this, negative 6 root 11 over 11. And the cotangent is going to be the reciprocal of this, negative root 11 over 5. So here are my 5. So that's A. And now when we think about B, determine the value of theta and what this reference theta is to the nearest tenth of a degree. So we're going to go over here to Desmos, or you can use your other calculator. I just didn't know where mine was, so I'm just using the phone. So I'm going to go to this little wrench, and because we're in degrees here, right here, we're told we're in degrees, I'm going to go into degrees there. So far, we're good? All right. Now, I want to know what theta is. I know what my ratio is. So I'm going to say, all right, I know my ratio. I want to know what theta is. So since I know the sign, I'm going to say inverse sine. The inverse sine is 5 divided by 6. Now, look at what happens. I'm told it's 56.4, etc.
Can someone do this?
There you go. So if this is 56 degrees, that means my reference angle is 56 degrees. So I'm going to say, I'm going to go right here, B, theta reference is 56 degrees. So if that's 56 degrees, what is this actual angle right here? How would we figure that out? Well, remember what we know. If this is 180 degrees, we'll say whoops, not that, silly me. Come on. Whoop. Okay, so we can go here, we can say 180 minus 56.4. You probably could have done that in your head. And we get theta is 123.6 degrees. Now, I want you to try number 2, and I'll check back in with the answer.